hegemony, not only over Pakistan, but in the region. And at that point in time, the whole nation came together, and our armed forces valiantly not only countered the attack of the enemy, but also defended the motherland with great valor and bravery. We've seen diplomatic efforts of the past, but these diplomatic efforts can only succeed once disputes are recognized as disputes. Kashmir being the biggest dispute between India and Pakistan, as long as the indigenous people of Jammu and Kashmir continue to suffer, there can be no peace. Because not only is the two-nation theory questioned by the present government in India, but the rise of the Hindutva ideology has also made life very difficult for minorities. And this so-called claim of being one of the biggest democracies has really failed. And with every passing day, we see that they've now gone towards transnational regression, towards transnational assassinations, like the distinct case of Hardeep Singh Najjar in Canada and in other countries for that matter. So, this so-called hegemony in the region, and I think in the recent Indo-Pak conflict, the false notion of rising India, this false glorification of being an economic and military power, I think that premise fell flat on its face when they were confronted with Pakistan. And Alhamdulillah, we not only established our military might with a befitting response, but I think our diplomatic efforts, we also displayed exemplary diplomacy, superior diplomacy. And with regard to war of the narratives, I think their arrogance got the better of them. And when we went on international fora, when we took to the international media, I think we were able to advocate our case much better than our adversaries. And there's a reason. Because the power of truth cannot be subdued. The power of truth cannot be conquered. And when we say that Pakistan has given great sacrifices in this war against terrorism, we really mean it. When one Pakistani soldier, one Pakistani officer, one Pakistani citizen, or even children for that matter, we're a country where children have laid down their lives in this war. So when one Pakistani lays down his or her life in this war against terrorism, it is to make Pakistan safe, but more importantly, to make the world a safer place. So Pakistan is like a shield, a wall between the terrorists and the rest of the world. And the false flag operation of Pahalgam had very shaky foundations. To level allegations against Pakistan of sponsoring terrorism, I think it's as absurd as it gets. How can a country which has suffered economic losses to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars, how can a country which has laid down more than 90,000 lives sponsor terrorism when it's the biggest victim of terrorism? And as I mentioned, the transnational regression, the transnational assassinations taking place on the behest of the Indian state actually prove the point that they are trying to suppress the minorities, whereas Pakistan has always been desirous of peace. And even in this recent conflict, an unprovoked, unjustified attack by the enemy which was given a befitting response, and that attack was on a false premise of trying to play the victim card. So when we see capture of spies like Kulbhushan Yadav, when we see cases in international courts where Pakistan, alhamdulillah, gets vindicated, our point is proven further that Pakistan wants peace, Pakistan speaks for justice, Pakistan speaks for fair play. Another bone of contention, which has recently again been used as a means of aggression, as a tool, has been water. The violation of the Indus Water Treaty, a failed attempt at unilaterally revoking this treaty, which is legally not possible. So the International Court of Arbitration, other international forums have very clearly stated that a treaty to which two parties consent cannot be unilaterally rescinded or revoked. It's as clear as that. So I think as long as there is a rise of Hindutva and the far right wing imposes policies of its own liking and does not recognize international disputes as disputes, there will always be a bone to pick. But I must also acknowledge that when we've been faced with testing times, whenever an attempt has been made to pose an existential threat, the whole nation has come together, be it the youth of our country, be it the intelligentsia, the academia, the media, politicians, civil society alike. And the whole nation has stood rock solid behind its armed forces, a force to be reckoned with. And how do you defeat a country which is united, which is standing behind its armed forces, and which is narrating nothing but the truth? So I think as far as water is concerned, Pakistan established its case very well. As far as being a victim of terrorism is concerned, Pakistan successfully laid down its narrative. And I think with regard to Jammu and Kashmir, we will be going to the United Nations General Assembly later this month, and the Prime Minister will be presenting Pakistan's case. And Pakistan has always made it a point to raise its voice against the oppression that is being faced by the indigenous and innocent people of Jammu and Kashmir. So I think the two-nation theory has never been this strong before as it is now. And Pakistan continues to tread the path of peace. But we've established that if an enemy tries to impose its will or tries to establish its military dominance, it will inshallah ta'ala always miserably fail on this front, because Pakistan stands united, Pakistan stands tall, and Pakistan stands with truth and peace. I again pay my gratitude to you, sir, my compliments on this launch. We hope to learn more from you and from this endeavor, and we hope that you continue to serve Pakistan as you always have in the past. Thank you very much. Pakistan Zindabad.
वफाकी वज़ीर इत्तलात और नशरियात अता तारड़ साबिक सेक्रेटरी खारजा एजाज अहमद चौधरी की तसनीफ़ की तकरीब रूनमाई से खिताब कर रहे थे। उन्होंने कहा कि ऐसा मुल्क जिसकी आवाम अपनी फ़ौज के साथ खड़ी हो, उसे शिकस्त नहीं दी जा सकती। पाकिस्तान और भारत के ताल्लुकात को दो कौमी